supposed to read these, right? All right. It says, the wound is where the light enters you. Rumi? Rummy?
Rumi, yeah.
Rumi. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I said it right? Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell some jokes. Hold on. It's a little low. I went out with my friend today, and I gave her a pair of gloves because her hands were cold. I thought that was nice of me. And then she went I was like in the mirror in the bathroom fixing my hair, and she went into the bathroom with her gloves on. And then she came out of the bathroom with her gloves on. And then she just left and went back into the bar. Saying, wash your hands, wash your hands.
But what if you got gloves on?
I guess you're not supposed to take them off. I'm confused. Has Twitter ever asked you to follow someone, and then about like a week later, Twitter tells you that they've killed themselves? Happened to me.
Oh my God.
Happened to me. So does that mean now that I'm following a ghost? I have to think about it. I used to work in the Grand Canyon, and I had this guy, and he was like, hey, I'm going to show you the Ansel Adams exhibits. And they're in like this special building, and you have to kind of like sneak in. But he had a key, so we didn't actually break in. But I went and I saw them, right? And I was like looking through the pictures and stuff, and I still remember this. And then I remember looking around, and I was like, what are those buckets filled with? And the buckets, I opened one up, and they were filled with active uranium, right? And years later, they would do a news story on it. And I guess I was really exposed. Might have had some long-term effects. All right. I went to the doctor the other day, and he was like, I like your purse. And I was like, oh man, a compliment. And I was like, wow, somebody's flirting with me that has a job. This is an improvement, right? He has a car. He has a college degree. This is good, right? He probably makes the cheddar. But when I was there, he told me that my vitamin D levels were like, I was almost dying. And he's like, I have to give you 50,000 milligrams of vitamin D, which I took some of that today. So that's probably why I have a lot of energy. I'll probably be up all night. But he's like, aren't you getting some sun exposure? And I'm like, I live in Oregon. He's like, weren't you just in LA? I'm like, well, it rained the whole time I was there. I don't know. All right. My friend, she got robbed, and the guy broke in through her window. No, I try to think of like the positive and things, you know? And she called me up for like moral support, and I was like, oh no, what do I say to her? I can't think of anything really a lot worse than getting robbed. And I said, well, what did they take? And this is where I kind of laughed, but I had to be like, oh no, this is so serious. They took a bottle of organic lotion.
Oh yeah.
She's gonna watch this on like YouTube and kill me. And then she took like a $5 violin that she got at Goodwill. I'm like, did they take anything else? And she's like, no. And I'm like, well, you're lucky. Time to get some renter's insurance. But then I like also wonder what would happen when she called for her renter's insurance claim, and she's like, oh man, I got broken into. And the lady on the other end is like, it's probably a lady because it's customer service, I don't know. Seems like ladies always get stuck in those shitty jobs. Anyway, and then she's like, all like, oh, what happened? Were you burglarized? We're so sorry for your loss. What did they take? And then she's like, they just took some organic lotion and a violin. And then I could hear the lady on the other end be like, how much was that worth? And she can be like, I got it for $5. And she's like, oh, we'll send you a check for 20. Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm going to stay with my friend next time I go to LA, because I'm worried now that I'm going to get robbed. But here's the weird thing about it, is when I went to go stay with her in LA, I sent myself an air mattress and a blanket, because she told me she had no place for me to sleep, right? And then what the funny part is the air mattress arrived, but the blanket did not. But with modern tracking, you can tell that your blanket was signed for. Her roommate signed for the blanket. So, I don't know. I don't really think that it was like a burglar. I think it was more like a roommate. And it was convenient that her roommate had the key to her place. All right, deep thoughts. In LA, you can get your, okay, for the minor in the room, cover your ears. Okay. She's okay.
She's rated R.
Rated R, okay. So when you're in LA, you can get your own avatar done. And a lot of these porn models are getting their own avatars done. And so I was thinking like, well, what if the new, like, it used to be cool, you could used to say like, hey man, I'm in the Mile High Club. That used to be like a notch on your status symbol. But I think the new notch on your status symbol thing is like fucking your own avatar. And that would be the new notch of ultimate, like, damn, I did that. I think another notch on your status bow would be like, yo, I went to Mars, or yo, I circled the Earth, or yo, I tried one of those tunnels that Elon Musk built. I don't know. I know I'm going to stay away from those buckets full of uranium. I know that sometimes when you try to do the things on your bucket list, you usually almost end up getting killed. All right? That's all I got. Good night.